Good morning, Southwest Florida, and welcome to the American Tradesman Show with my guest, Brian Prevett from Prevett Plumbing, his brother, Gerald Prevett from B&K, and Juan Silva, who's not in today, fellas. He's on baby duty and quarantine. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Brian, I was going to put you in the quarantine, but I thought about myself. I think we got to stay together. It's got to be us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be salt and pepper. I mean, ketchup and mustard. That's me and Brian. So, I mean, we got to stick plumbing and electrical.
Plumbers don't quarantine.
No.
we quarantine.
Better be careful of the quarantine. But you know, I want everybody out there to be safe. I mean, I'm in my own situation of having to quarantine myself, but from a standpoint of safety, everybody should stay at home. If you don't have the opportunity to stay home because of you working in the store, right? Some of these stores, I mean, it's a little confusing for me because, you know, they want people off the street, but they got people in the street. I mean, they got people in the stores. I mean, gas stations. I mean, if you're going to close the quarantine down, I mean, you're going to have to close all that stuff down, right? Think about it. I mean, it's not that they're asking people to get off the streets, so everybody's off the streets. But in the farther point of it, I look at it, I just went to got gas, right? I go to pull up in gas, and the gas station's full, the store's full, and how's that quarantine there? How's it going to work?
You know, it's not. I mean, it's until it gets like where you have the other countries where they're doing a full on
Closed up.
Shut it down. Everybody has to stay home, mandatory martial law. I mean,
nobody wants to hear martial law,
no.
right?
It's going to be up to.
That is a scary thought, right, Brian? People hear martial law and then they run. So that to me is, the only way I've heard it. I mean, it was funny. I seen something from a friend of mine. He sent it to me and showed the National Guard coming out, and it said, "Don't let the Marines take the rifles from them." But the reality is that this is a scary time for a lot of people. But what's the word? Pandemic, or what's the word? Pandemic, is that it? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Pandemic, is that it?
Yep.
Pandemic or pandemic?
Pandemic.
Brian? You don't even
Pandemic.
try. Brian had to think about that for a minute. But in the reality of it is that it is a scary situation, and it's made everybody kind of go home and close up the doors and be scared right now. And I don't think we need to be scared. We just need to be cautious of what we're doing. It's funny because my assistant, Michelle, she told me today, Anthony, wash your hands 5 times. 5 times, Anthony. Just wash them 5 times. I felt to myself, what am I going to be, a doctor? I mean, how many times could I wash my hands? Brian, in your case, wash your arms, Brian, right?
Yeah, I actually carry a bucket around right now with Lysol and a microfiber rag. I'll wring it out and I'll wipe my hair with it, my face, my arms, every time I go in somewhere.
Gerald, you're not working with Brian, are you?
No.
Oh, thank God. That'd have been a hard time, right? Especially him out there bathing.
The bad part is he's also using that same bucket and rag to wipe down the equipment when he gets done snaking the line.
Is that the bucket that's 5 gallons, Brian? Is it a 5-gallon bucket?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that 5-gallon bucket, but didn't look clean, though.
I used the 2. I was using a 2-gallon, but I couldn't quite fit in it far enough.
No.
Yeah.
What, your toe, you mean? Well, listen, again, be cautious of everything out there from ladies and gentlemen out there, the audience listening. Be cautious of what's going on. I mean, I do understand. I mean, the urgency of all of it. So, if you don't need to be out, don't be out, right, Joe?
That's right.
I mean, be careful of everything that's going on. Also, from security. I mean, security is going to become a bigger thing. I don't know what the next week is going to bring. President Trump a few days ago said, next week may be a time to just come back to life. And so I'm praying to God that next week is going to be a good week for us and things are going to come out and we're going to cure this, right, Brian? Yeah. Americans got to stand by together, though, that's for sure. Can't start pointing fingers because this has been going on for the last 2 weeks. And it's all about a trade. Saying about somebody, it's a problem. It's a trade war that we've gone through. It's called the trade epidemic. Is that right, the word? Epidemic. So, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about last week was mold. Mold is a big thing coming up here in the next few months. People closed up all their doors, right, Gerald?
That's it.
And, not to say it, but one of the things we talked about last week was about, wiping things down and making sure it was clean and things that some of the things you guys do it, right, Brian, B&K, you guys have machines for that, right?
Yeah. So I mean, with the possibility with you closing the doors on businesses and the possibility when you go to reopen of, anything may be left behind. We do offer services that we can actually clean the air. We have machines that will take particulates out of the air. We also have machines that will clean the air, such as killing mold, killing viruses, bacteria, everything like that. That may pass through there. I mean, give us a call. We can come out, set these machines up so that, your HOAs and your clubhouses, these have been quarantined off. Nobody can use them. Before you reintroduce your residents back into them, have us come out. We'll make sure we run these machines and they'll clean it out. Same thing with doctor's offices, anything like that. Any kind of,
Clubhouses.
everything.
Everything you can think of, ladies and gentlemen, that you've been quarantined off is some of the things that you're going to want these machines put in. Brian, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there is some machines that are out there that may do half the job. Is that right? And not to say it, but doesn't do all the job if you don't do the job in the sense of remediation of all of it, right?
That is correct. And then, people are saying, well, the 2 weeks, and then they're finding out, on this cruise ship that, it's survived longer than 2 weeks on the surfaces on this cruise ship that, was sitting there. So, I mean, we're not familiar enough to know to give outlines and parameters for this virus. So do not reintroduce yourself into a contaminated environment. Give us a call to come out and set up this equipment for you and get this done. That way that you can ensure that your indoor air quality is going to be healthy and you're not going to reintroduce yourself to this virus or any other virus, because it's not just the coronavirus that's going around right now. There's also a very bad flu virus that is
lasting very long.
Yes. And so it's not just the coronavirus. There's also a flu virus that is going around. So, some people have been worried they might have had it, but they're actually only experiencing a flu virus that's going around as well. So, like I said, don't expose yourself to these bacteria or viruses when you open up the shop again. You know what I'm saying? Give us a call. We'll come out, set up this equipment. We will clean the air. And like I said, this is going to clean all the air that's in there and make sure that you're not going to have any kind of contaminants that are going to be in there.
What's that phone number over there, Joe?
It's going to be 239-398-9834.
Say that one more time so the audience understands. This is about air quality of the places that you've probably been quarantined, either in like a home, in like a condo, in like multifamily, anywhere.
And wiping down surfaces does not do anything for the air. So while you may have wiped down every surface in there, you did nothing for the air that is floating around. And like I said, anywhere in there, these viruses can hold up, and you want to make sure that you want to clean them out. Give us a call, 239-398-9834.
Well, one of the things last week we talked about is time frames. I mean, people wonder, what it is. I mean, one of the things that you guys do with the ozone machine, right, Brian, is that some of the parts that you kind of set up for the air quality is to kind of run that ozone machine through the air ducts, correct?
Correct.
And then the process for you guys, from a time frame for start to finish, how long do you think it takes?
Set up and run it is probably going to be, and take down, you're probably going to be looking at maybe 3 hours, and then you're going to need at least another hour to an hour and a half after the machine's run before you can introduce yourself into the air. So, yeah,
you're talking about half a day, half a morning. And not to say it, 4 hours, they leave at 8, right? Play golf till 12, right, Brian? They come back in and it's done, and
Correct.
You can walk right in. So hypothetically, if you're listening out there and you're in a condo or an association or you're multifamily, BK, give them a call out there. Again, Joe, what is that phone number?
239-398-9834. And this will also eliminate odors in your home. So, if you have pet odors, if you smoke, it will eliminate that. Now, if you do continue to have the pet in the house or you do continue to smoke, it's not going to be a permanent thing, but it will temporarily remove odors from homes unless you reintroduce whatever the cause for those odors are.
So, again, I'm going to say this. It's a 4-hour morning time, 4-hour afternoon time. This is a no-brainer in my opinion because it's killing bacteria, right? It's killing anything that's going to be spored up from a mold or any of that stuff. And that's the stuff that collects to the virus, correct?
That's correct. And if it's a business, we can come in at closing time, set up the machines, let them run overnight, come back in the morning, collect them before your opening time, and you'll have never lost any time. So, I mean, like I said, we can work with businesses. We can do whatever we need to that's going to work with your time frames to make sure you can get it done and have a safe indoor environment.
Yeah, listening to it, I mean, we talked about it last week, and I had said to you, I said, I get nervous, from a cleaning lady standpoint right now. They're coming into my house, and they clean my house, and then the first thing you said is, well, they just pushed it up into the air, correct?
Correct.
And that's when we got into that tiny bubbles, Brian. Did you hear about the bubbles?
No, I didn't.
It was scrubble bubbles, wasn't it? Or
Yeah, the scrubbing bubbles.
Scrubbing bubbles. But actually, what is it? There's brushes or hairs or bubbles.
It's an air scrubber.
Air scrubber, Brian. I knew it was somehow I was going to get it right. It was an air scrubber. But the reality is that air scrubber is going to really take what's in that air physically. I mean, it's not going to take things off of the desk, but in the same breath, it's going to be able to suck back in what's bad air.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, every home, it doesn't matter how often you have a cleaning person there, you're going to have dust particles flying through the air, and we call them dust, but to know what they
Dust
actually
bunnies.
are, yeah, to know what they actually are kind of really grosses out people. But I mean, it's dead skin, dander from your,
Pets,
hair,
anything.
everything, and this is what the dust is in your home. And these air scrubbers will actually pull air, so all these little particles that you have that are, all these what we call dust that is floating through your air will actually get sucked into the machine and trapped in the filter. And what comes out of that is 99.99% HEPA filtered air. So, I mean, like I said, anything that goes through that filter is going to get filtered out through that air scrubber. And we set these up strategically in the home so the air circulation blows through, and that these are done, to maximize what goes through your home. And in that way that, all this will be broke down. So if your cleaning lady comes through and wipes off your counter, well, most of the dust that was on that counter is actually now floating in your air, and it's going to take it several hours before it's going to settle again. And so, like I said, have us come in behind the cleaning lady. We'll set up the air scrubbers. We'll set up the ozone machines. And you will notice 100% a difference in your air. The ozone machines, they're going to actually generate oxygen. So you actually will feel a lot better once these machines are done, because you will have a higher level of oxygen that's going to be in your unit.
Yeah, not to say it, but they are putting ozone machines, right, Brian? I mean, systematically in air conditioning units now, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So they're using ozone, machines, to do their own thing throughout. I've had them in my house. I've had them done before in my house just to kind of keep the air clean. And, now is really kind of a big time. I talk to my own self. I'm looking at 4 hours. I got a few rentals that I got people coming down from VRBO, and I'm scared, that this is the other part of I look at is that I'm looking at people coming from other states, countries, staying in my house, and it's a little nerve-wracking. So, last week when we talked about it, I had a conversation with my wife about that, is that, we got a little downtime right now. I may have to get my house scrubbed.
Before you used to just have to put a little extra bleach in the pool and jacuzzi. Oh. Now you got to worry about the air.
Well, you got to worry about them going home, though. They may have to say, with that suntan coming out, I got to tell you, most of those people stay in the VRBO they look like they're purple about 2 days into it. I say in the beginning, I go, the suntan lotion's right there. All you have to do is spray it on, right? And the first thing everybody, I burn first, and then I get put suntan lotion on. So it doesn't really defend it, but in a sense, that's like me wiping down the counter, right, Gerald?
Yeah.
And the air flying up with my little dust bunnies. And this is where that virus is going to be for a while. If the virus comes in from somebody that doesn't know they got it, right? I seen the sports star, the basketball star, where and then they find out he tested positive. Did you see that? That's the guy from Utah.
Where he touched all the mics and stuff.
Yeah, he touched all the mics and said it was a fake thing, and then the next day he tested positive for, coronavirus, and it was him making jokes about it. An NBA star from Utah, some young kid, I can't remember his name, and then he tests positive the next day. So, people are taking it that lightly, that this is the same thing we're talking about. From an air quality, you're really not going to get that virus out of your home, right? I don't feel that. Unless you've got a vacuum cleaner that sits outside and just sucks all the air out and throws it out, but you're not going to get that virus. To come away.
They're saying it's
This is years.
It's got a defense against Lysol and most of your basic cleaners. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the predicament we're in. So, I mean, ozone is going to be 100% the way the ozone machines, they're going to kill viruses and bacteria.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because it was this morning I was talking to my painter, PJ, and she says, well, I got a remedy for you. And I started to think, what kind of remedy could it be? And it's honey with some kind of lemon juice, and it's what she says that they gave overseas to mosquitoes. I mean, the Philippines, where when I went overseas, it was malaria. So they gave us tablets. We had to take tablets overseas, and it looked like dog pellets when I was overseas. Never told us what it'd do to us, but we had to take malaria pills. But she says overseas they do honey and I don't know, some concoction. But I'll have to get PJ to say that one. But I got to say, whatever it is, you need to be safe. And that, I mean, you're gonna have to save yourself under this. And again, I can't say this enough. With the virus going into the air, could land and stay for 2 weeks. The reality is that somebody like, Gerald over at B&K, those guys are going to put that in there for less than 4 hours. It's less than going out and shopping and getting some clothes or whatever it is. Less than, going to the golf course, right?
That's it.
And the reality is if I'm looking at something that's less than the golf course and I can get my air scrubbed, right, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
Tiny bubbles. If I can get my air scrubbed for less than 4 hours, I want to get it done. So I'll be getting my setup next week. This is going to go, right? It's all, it's kind of a thing that's not probably going to go away in the next few weeks, but I pray for everybody. But again, what's the phone number over there, Joe?
239-398-9834.
Well, Brian, I wanted to go over to you because you're like the toilet specialist.
Oh, yeah.
Brian's
At least 4 times a day.
What happened to 2? Ain't you on a regular? You drinking too much coffee.
I'm getting older, man. No, I'm still in the field.
I do see that gray hair, though. You're right.
You like that?
I know. I was looking at that earlier. Brian's got himself a...
It's bad for the respirator, but...
Well, Brian, one of the things I did want to talk to you about is sewers, because I've been reading from everywhere from New York to California to Michigan. Sewers are collapsing in some of these areas. Some of the machines, pumps, motors, blowing up, right? If you've read back in the last few days, toilet paper has been the biggest thing going down these, sewer lines. And now, if they don't have toilet paper, right, Gerald, what's the first thing they're going to reach for?
They're going to reach for those Sandy wipes.
Sandy wipes, that's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening out there about Sandy wipes and toilet paper, you're better off just to take a leaf if you're going to put Sandy wipes down there, right? Because it's going to cause a lot of problems. But
yeah, a lot of those packages say flushable, but no Sandy wipe is considered flushable. They are not good for any septic system, sewer, anything like that. So, they're really not good for anything.
Brian's looking at me smiling. He goes, the Sandy wipes are not too good.
Well, they're not good
I
for
was
the
just
homeowner.
thinking we should, the next boat we buy, we should name Flushable.
Yeah, the Sandy wipes aren't good for the homeowner. They're good for the plumber.
Yeah.
Because, it's just a recipe for disaster.
That's job security for you, Brian.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. I'm not complaining.
No, but one of the things I did say is that, these cast iron, right? The cast iron pipes are really going to probably be to the strain because of so much weight. You got a 50-year-old cast iron pipe in the ground, and some of these people, a lot of places, right? Still, the condos even.
Yeah, you're going to find a lot of problems between the cast iron, also the sizing of the old drain pipes versus the amount of water that the new toilets use. That's a little bit of an issue nowadays. So you start throwing Sandy wipes and an excessive amount of toilet paper, you're going to start running into problems.
The water makes it heavier with that much water coming down.
Well, what happens is you're using 1.2 gallons of water, but on a lot of these canister toilets, it's a short flush. So you're not even
flushing.
Yeah, you're not even using that much. So once the water gets down inside the drain pipe under the building with the water, depending on the slope of the pipe, the water will pass the paper and leave the paper behind, and the water will exit before the paper. So then you start getting a little bit of a buildup
of paper.
Right. So if you don't use a lot of other things at the same time, run your shower, sinks, etc., you can experience backups from that too.
Well, I don't know what we have from a population down here from a standpoint of, who's down here vacationing, who came down here because of this. I mean, I don't know if that. I mean, a lot of people from New York has hit us up on the VRBOs. We're already packed for the VRBOs from New York, Chicago, California. And some of those places are, really having problems now, like I said, with the sewer systems. And some of the things that's going on with them is not even toilet paper, but they can't even use the bathrooms. So, the biggest thing, important thing at this time, right? Is if it was me, I would think about camera in these sewers, very quickly after this little bit of a storm, because, it's going to make a mess if you don't get somebody to kind of camera it, make sure. And it's a safety feature. You don't need the house backing up, the condo, right? So any of you guys out there, in condo land or association land, if you got multifamilies, that are, 4 stories, 5 stories, 24 stories, 25 stories, right? You're going to have some problems because there's been just the usage was not that demand. It's like having a power outage for me, right? So, and the reality is, Brian over at Brian Prevett, they can kind of get over there on camera and actually run, the machine, right?
Yeah, we can come over camera, we have jetters, snakes, we have
but there'd be
several
something
pieces
to think
of
about.
equipment. Yeah, especially if you start noticing any kind of a noise differential in your system.
People
like
start to hear gurgling.
A gurgling, your toilets start bubbling a little. Things just don't seem to be flowing as well as they should. You definitely want to get it checked before it becomes an issue. Because the last thing you really want is for your system to back up right now.
My assistant lives in a condo on the 3rd floor, and she has a cabana up on a loft. So she says she hears gurgling up there, and I said, well, just keep in mind, you're on the top floor, and if you back up your floor, that means you're backing up your house and then the people below you, and then the reality is the associations, they picked the first person that made the problem, right? And that's where you're going to run into problems where the drains are clogged up. You're on the 1st floor and you cause a problem. It's your problem, but you're on the 10th floor and you cause that problem and 9 other people are affected by it, right? Yep. Then your insurance is going to have to pay for all those people. And you don't even know if it's in your drain because they're all one big drain, right? Through a condo. In a condo situation, there's accesses, right? Through for the clean outs and stuff.
Yeah.
And the reality is that you don't know where that blockage could have started.
Right. And sometimes you truly don't know who caused it or what caused it, but you definitely don't want to be the person that they accuse of
that it came
creating
out of.
it,
yes,
or that caused it, because sometimes they'll try to get you to have to pay the bill.
Yeah, and that's not. This is something from an association or a condo, right, Gerald? It's not something that we're trying to kind of understand from, whose fault it would be, but. On Brian's side, what we're explaining is that if you get this camera, if you get the condos to get your association to come out and run it for the whole station, right? That'd be the smart thing if I was. If I was a condo manager or association manager, I would just say, let's run this. Clean out the drains now because we've been used. A lot of times.
Yeah,
and a lot of things we also see, and we've actually had one instance of it that we're dealing with now is in a lot of these single family homes in these tight communities, they're cookie cutter for the most part throughout the neighborhood, the homes and the way they're set up. The HOA, when they're planned, are the ones who are responsible for the vegetation and the landscape. And a lot of times what we find is they'll have certain palms or oak trees that are in certain areas, and they're usually right by your sanitation line. We're actually dealing with one right now, a massive oak tree that's right by a sanitation line, and it's a halfway in between for who's the HOA or the homeowner, but it's a line that we cambered and we found had a root invasion, and that's going to be your biggest thing, especially in these neighborhoods. They're PVC, so they're a good pipe, but unfortunately, it's poor engineering where you're going to find vegetation near these sanitation lines, and with most of your vegetation in the larger trees, those roots are going to seek out those sanitation lines and break through them. And so, if you're in these neighborhoods and
oak trees, I see oak trees. They didn't run break into
oak trees, palm trees.
Right.
We see all of them do it. And like I said, if you're in these neighborhoods and you know that your sanitation line runs in a certain area near a tree, have us come out, camera the line, locate it, because we can also locate exactly where if you do have an issue for a break. And then you may be able to work out some with your HOA, because eventually it's going to fail, but you never want it to fail into an instance where it pushes back into your home. Because once it pushes back into your home, not only do you have the cost of replacing that sanitation line on the exterior, but now you also have the cost of redoing and renovating your home, because you have a remediation job that needs to be done. Save yourself that kind of trouble, and do forward thinking. So if you do have, a sanitation line that goes out to the street, you can see that little white cap, and it goes out there right by a tree. Have us come out and camera that line. For the cost of the camera, it could save you thousands. I mean, your deductible for most insurance is going to be more than the cost it's going to take for us to camera, inspect that line. Plus, we'll know right then if you have a root invasion, if you have pitch issues, if you have anything like that may be affecting your line. We can tell right away.
Plus, you don't want to be that neighbor who has a burn barrel in the front yard. Especially in a condo.
A burn barrel. Only Brian would bring up that. When I was in the Marine Corps and we was on the desert, I could tell you we put a lot of burn barrels out there, man. It wasn't a smelly job that you wanted, is that burn barrel. Well, it's funny that you say that, Gerald. I mean, I understand. I mean, you would create, more problems in the sense of not even worrying about air quality as if you had a backed up line, right?
Right.
And I'm only stating this is important for the homeowner, the associations, the condos. I mean, any single family residence homes, obviously, like you said, if you run the camera, right? You're right there. You see something, you could run the jetter, right?
Yeah, and listen, a backup is the worst because what happens is a lot of times people don't actually see the water that leaks out under the toilet,
right,
under the tile, and that water's gray water.
Right.
Category 3.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So
there's that category.
They, a lot of times they don't even know that there's actual water damage because it's not visible, but it's there.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that. I think a couple weeks ago I took out a tile in the bathroom, and under the bottom of right around where the wax ring is at, there was probably category 7,
yeah,
right there, and that tells you that as a homeowner, a lot of times maybe they have a cleaning person, right? So in the sense of all that, the cleaning lady's just cleaning around the toilet and doesn't pay attention, or somebody that doesn't have a cleaning lady just they don't pay attention to those things. They just see it. Say my husband's been peeing on the toilet, right?
Well, a lot of times now when they do tile, they use the trowels, and the trowels have teeth on them, and so you're laying these lines in the grout that sets the tile, and when it does that, those are channels for that water, so you never see the water come to the surface. It's trapped up underneath there. But what happens is when that category 3 water leaches out up underneath the tile and you don't see it, your first threat is going to be a bacterial threat, because that water has automatically got bacteria in it. So after 2 days, you've got a live manifestation of bacteria. Give it 2 weeks under there, and now you have a microbial threat. So not only do you have a bacterial threat, but now you have a microbial threat where mold and other things like that are going to spawn, because one of the components that make up the grout that holds that tile down is the same component that microbials will thrive off of, and that's sand and dirt. So, most people don't realize it, but grout contains sand, and sand and dirt is what, of course, mold is going to love. It's going to thrive on.
And it's funny that you said about the hand trowel being that it has the rivers in it, right? When you're putting mud down. So it's funny that you said that, because I pictured after you did that, a lot of rivers with category 3 going down, right?
Yeah.
and a lot of times it leaches back into the wall where most people have metal studs, and you never see it because it gets trapped in that metal stud area, and a lot of people just don't have it come to the surface. But now it's in your wall, and now you have a bacterial as well as a microbial threat that's going to be in that wall.
Yeah.
But keep in mind,
Go ahead.
But keep in mind, usually when vanities are set, they're set on the floor because they want to save the money on the tile that would go underneath the vanity.
Right.
So now you have those rivers.
Touching the wood.
And that water is going over to the vanities.
That's right. Rot is they rot out the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. And then they just travel to the wall from that point,
right?
Which is where that's concrete underneath there.
It starts leaching up the base of your cabinet. You might not see it. That's where you keep your toothbrushes, all your hygiene stuff. So think about that.
You have a toothbrush? Mm-hmm. Oh, I got to get a toothbrush.
Oh yeah.
I only got 3 teeth.
Oh, you just need dental floss then.
I don't need no floss. All right. Well, listen, again, what's the phone number over there? Gerald, tell them that phone number of BK.
It's going to be 239-398-9834.
And Brian over at Prevent Plumbing, don't fret.
Call Prevent.
That's it.
239-596-5533.
And I'm Anthony Carlone from American Contracting and Electrical. Juan Silva's out today. He's got baby duty quarantined, right? Is that what it is? Baby duty quarantined. But we love you, Juan. We miss you. And, well, at this time, we generally kind of get right around the break and we talk about Cadbury eggs. Is that right, Brian?
Mm-hmm. Cadbury.
I knew you was it's getting close. It is getting close to Easter, though, fellas. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like the middle of the month this month, right? I mean, Easter floats around. I mean, Jesus came out whenever he wanted to, I think. Comes out the 31st, the 28th. I mean, March. Easter's always, but I know Brian gets excited about the Cadburys, but
don't forget Lysol them eggs before you eat them.
Ooh, that's right. Gerald, you just said Lysol doesn't work.
Not for the coronavirus.
Chlorine bleach. I heard bleach works for it. Maybe it. Maybe the keg. Well, listen, shout outs to, we like to give shout outs on the show. This is about small companies. Small guys like us, right, Brian?
Yeah.
I mean, we're big guys, but we're small guys, but small companies. I mean, like Alex. Alex is a small company, right, Alex? And I just found out today he's only 29. Whew. I need to be 29 again, Brian. I'd take my knees if they were 29. But, the shout-outs are kind of for us to kind of say a shout-out to people that out there that we love and that we care about and thank them for their, company out there, right, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
So, Gerald, who do you got out there to shout out for?
All right, so in keep going with what we did last week. This week I want to give a shout-out to everybody who's working at, say, Publix, Sam's, Costco, any of your grocery stores like that, because you guys are having to work your tail off, and you're definitely not getting any appreciation from any customers. Everybody's mad because you're out of this and you're out of that, and you guys are working your butt off to stock things and sanitize it and hope yourself you're not going to catch the virus and take it home. So this week I want to give a shout-out to everybody.
Well, and the first responders and the police department.
Yeah, we gave them a shout-out last
nurses,
week.
Everybody out there, I want to give a shout-out for that. But, you touched on that for the food services and the people that are Publix. That's what I was talking about earlier. These people are working, right? Right straight through it. It's kind of, to me, if you went to Physicians Regional, you couldn't walk in unless you had an appointment. You go to Publix, there's no appointment. You just come on in. They got a guy there washing down the carts, which I thought was pretty important at Publix. But,
just not the jar, right?
Right. Last week it wasn't as important. Back this week it is. But you're right about that for the people at Publix and first responders. The police department. It's an important side for our side to recognize the people out there. Those are the sports stars, personally, right? Those are the movie stars.
Yeah, all your first responders, everybody who's in the grocery industry, everybody who's in the hospital industry right now. Because if you do test positive for the coronavirus, you have to go to the hospital. At some point, and these people who are working these hospitals, people come in, they don't know if they're exposed, and it's a big concern from them, and they can't get the safety supplies they need. So, God bless everybody in the hospitals, and we're going to give you a shout out.
I'd also like to say, like right now, even if you think you look a little silly being safe, go ahead and be safe. Like if you have a mask, wear it if you feel comfortable. The gloves, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm that guy too. Like when I pull up at Wawa, I put my gloves on to open the doors to go in. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of things going on out there.
There's just a statement that you said. And it makes sense is that, this is just about yourself. You don't have to wear the mask. You don't have to put the gloves on. That's your prerogative. You just said something to yourself. I'm doing it for my own safety, right? The reality is that you don't
want to take it home.
You don't want to bring it to a customer or a client,
right.
Another person that touches your hand. We used to do the fist bump. Now we're doing elbows and feet bump.
Yeah,
right. And that's scary because I think to myself, how long does that go on for, right? So this is going to be a little bit of process, but don't worry. The president of the United States has got it. I believe in Mr. Donald Trump, and he's doing the best job of anybody. And wait for the market.
2020.
That's right. That's subliminal, baby. Subliminal 2020. But wait for Donald Trump to get it right. And this is really going to be this up and coming year will be a great year for us. I know it will be. So stay with what you got and hold your family tight, right?
Well, at least we know this time, 90 days from now, we won't have any outdated toilet paper.
Well, that's a true story. Probably going to have to grow some.
Outdated toilet paper.
Does toilet paper get outdated?
No, it does not.
I started thinking about it. I mean, I never seen an expiration date.
Now, if you get the RV toilet paper, that stuff may break down
Well,
in the package on its own.
Porta John's got some pretty rough stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny that you said that because I seen on Facebook the other day. It said, "Can you freeze toilet paper?"
Hopefully, it's before you use it.
Before the date, before the born-on date. Well, the shout-outs are important for us. I mean, we give out the shout-outs for, the first responders and the people out there. I want to give a shout-out to my assistant who's always been there and works her butt off on a daily basis, Michelle. She's a hard-working person. So, Michelle, I'm giving you a shout-out. And then Synovus Bank, I'm going to give a shout-out to Diane. She sees me every day. Today she asked me if I had a radio show, and I kind of had to say yes, I got a radio show. I don't say too much about me and Brian's faces, but we got good voices, right, Gerald?
Yeah.
We do have
as far
good
as
voices.
it goes.
We do have good voices. Our faces are not something you want to see on a daily basis. But, again, we are the most loyal people, right, Brian? Oh, yeah. And we're the people that show up. So shout out to Diane from Synovus Bank and Patty Byers from Synovus Bank. I mean, I want to give a shout out to all my family from Synovus. Brian, I wanted to kind of touch base in a few minutes about the sewers again and some of the things we had. But Juan's not here, and I want to go over a little bit of things about the lockout kit from last week. You guys remember last week with the lockout kit?
Oh,
Brian,
yeah.
you were on
I remember
Christmas
like it was
vacation,
yesterday.
wasn't it? It was yesterday. Well, I want to talk about the lockout breakers because it's an important time right now to think about, portable generators, which is something that, we are, over at American Electrical, we were very versed in not only, a standalone generator, but also we're very versed in portable generators. We sell portable generators, 8 and 10 and 12, and then if we choose to, I get a 17 kW portable generator, and, that generator will run for 12 straight hours, and Generac generators that are portable, have a 1-year warranty on them. I got to tell you, if I put in a lockout kit with an outlet, Brian, I can run that generator and run that whole house on a 17 kW generator. In some cases, a 15 kW generator. The water heater causes some problems sometimes, but the reality is I can use a 12 or 15 kW portable generator or 10 kW portable generator and run your home, and you can monitor or you can, manage the breakers yourself. Meaning in my situation, if you had a water heater, right, Brian? That takes how many amps, Brian?
30 amps.
So if you had a water heater that's 30 amps, we know that it only uses one set of elements at a time, right? So it's only 1,800 watts that you got to worry about. So the reality is that I could turn a water heater on and turn on my water if I had a wall equipment, right, Joe?
Yep.
And I can run my house with the water and the hot water and get a nice shower off of a portable generator that's probably less than 15 kW. So one of the things I kind of, enforce, and I tell Juan all the time is these lockout breakers, the lockout kits are something that you really need to think about because the lockout kit is something that's designed for a portable generator to be used. And the reality is that, Gerald and I had this conversation a few minutes ago about generators on standalones. A lot of companies will sell you, Gerald, say it again, the whole lock, stock, and barrel.
That's
right?
it. They're going to sell you the
car.
standalone and exactly a car because the cost of that, and that's all they know. They have option A or option B, and both of them are astronomical. Whereas
you buy a
with
car.
American Electrical, they can get you set up for what you need. Most of the times you're not going to need that full, package to run for 4 days because of a power loss. FPL has gotten so great with things that even during, Irma, you weren't down but maybe a week to a week and a half at some places. And with, the portable generator, you're still able to have the functionality with a fraction of the cost because those standalone systems that you come in with, I mean, that's a big chunk of money. And, and they're not sure about the electrical portion. They just know the generator. But with American Electrical, they can come in, they can look at your house, look at what you need to feed, and get something that's suited for just what you want for that passive time that you need.
And this is a safe technique, because I remember after Charlie, you came over to my personal house, and I had a sub panel, but we had to actually just take the wires and strip them back and kind of poke them in the holes. And that was a little sketchy, but that's all you could do at the time because there were no plugs available or anything. That was survival mode.
Into anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say that you're right. And a lot of people don't prepare for that. I mean, I'm telling you, this lockout kit for $695, that's what we're selling it for. I told you last week we'd sell it for $600. You give us a call over to American Electrical at 239-353-4389. That's 239-353-4389. Give us a call over to American Electrical. Shelby's right there at the desk. She's another one, my Juan's assistant. She's great. I mean, you give Shelby a call and she'll take care of you. But like I said, the lockout kit is an inexpensive, I mean, I don't want to say hurricane kit, right? But some of the things that people don't realize is that they don't have water, right? I mean, if you live off a city system, the water would be there. But if you live out in the estates where Lehigh Acres or Cape Coral, most of those places are just strictly water and well and septic, right? And if you look at, the generator pricing, I'm just going to kind of hypothetically give you a price. You could probably get a small system for like 7,000 kW, but you got to get a permit for the gas tank, right? You got to get gas in the tank. The reality is you got to, pull the permit for the generator, the slab for the generator. You were right about saying A, B, and C, because over the years, I had AC Electric for 22 years, and we had 5 prices. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I heard you. It's okay. By this time, they know me by now, but it's all good. I did work for another company or own another company. Is that right saying that? But I did own another company, and I had 5 prices myself. And it was never to do with portable generators. It was always to do with standalone. So when you got to get a gas tank and a concrete slab and a generator, you've got an electrician involved, the contractor involved, a gas guy or a plumbing guy, right, Brian? You're pulling 3 permits. I will say that most of the time they ain't no less than $8,000 to $15,000 to start. And from 15 to sometimes 30, 40, 50, 60 grand, right? Mm-hmm. Depending on the size. A homeowner doesn't have $8,000 or $5,000. This is a very tight situation for some people. I would say that this generator lockout kit gives you the plug outside. You don't have to have the generator tomorrow. You don't have to have the generator, next week.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Get the generator lockout kit in. This way, when it does happen, you know who to call. You give us a call at American Electrical. We order the generator before that. It's portable. We tell you to get 5-gallon tanks of gas, and away you go, right?
Yeah, plus if it's portable, how many times do you have, I know personally, there's times where I've actually loaded my generators and went to the other coast, waited for it to pass and come right back over. Or, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you move around.
Yeah,
plus some of the guys with the big generators, I do remember a few of them, they had the big diesel generators and stuff, and it's like, you got to remember, all that stuff runs off something. You're going to have to find diesel to put in it. You're going to have to find propane.
It's funny that you said that, because right before what's the last hurricane? Irma. Right before Irma, Florida Power and Light shut the power off, and I don't know if it was a test on their side, turned it back on, and when they did turn it back on, my stator burned up on my generator. So when the hurricane came in, I didn't have a generator for 3 weeks. And I got, ladies and gentlemen, a 45 kW generator run his house, my house, and everybody else's house. I will say I had to buy 2 portable generators, one for my guest house and one for my main house, so I could run an air conditioning unit, a window shaker, out of my bedroom. And throughout all that time, I can't tell you the anguish I went through. Family members, everybody was all prepared to stay in Anthony's house with impact windows, hurricane shutters, and generator. He's all set up with a generator, and went to turn on, and nothing came on. I couldn't get a service tech out there if I wanted to. I had to beg him. But I got to tell you, the portable generator is an inexpensive item that you should be able to purchase from any box store your own self. But the lockout kit is through an electrical supply house, and we match up your electrical panel. We match up the breaker that goes to it. I mean, this is set up through an electrical contractor, not something that, we're plugging into the dryer receptacle or the water heater, right, Gerald?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we want to plug into the AC disconnect. And so a lot of this is important for you as a homeowner to understand you don't have to have a full-size generator. And some of these neighborhoods won't allow you to even have a generator, right? I mean, I know a lot of people got zero lot lines on most of these single-family homes. And if you live on a single-family home that's zero lot line, I have a hard time putting the generator anywhere unless it's like in the back yard.
Even down to some of the expensive neighborhoods, they're making them come up with some very creative ideas to hide them so the neighbors don't have to see them.
Height, I mean, not to say
Yeah.
it, but right before Airport Road, it becomes
Right.
elevation, flood elevation, right? So that causes a problem in itself for flood elevation. I mean, in the beginning, it got a lot of doctors to call us down on Fifth Avenue, down on the back streets of these, and their buildings are 25, maybe 15 feet high, and then they want to put a generator, and I got to put it higher than the building. So putting a generator even downtown, I mean, it is very hard to get a regular generator, I mean, anywhere downtown in Port Royal because of flood elevations. And the lots are so squeezed together these houses are, tight. I mean, you can be 10,000 square foot home back to back, but I mean, they're right on, 7.5 feet lines and go up 50 feet. So the generators are a hard time. I mean, I would say, like I said, the generators, a standalone generator, maybe you don't use it in 20 years, maybe you do use it. But if you have a portable unit, it's just as safe and, like Gerald said, a fraction of the cost, right?
Exactly.
And that part is about, in the sense of it, the reality of it. Get yourself a lockout kit from American Electrical. Give Shelby a call over there at 239-353-4389. That's 239-353-4389. Shelby's over there. She'll take the call, and I think it takes 2 days to get a kit in. You tell us what kind of panel. Send us a picture of your panel cover. We order it right then. Juan gets the service technician out there, and in the fraction of the time that you can get a generator even to look at it, right? Yeah, I mean, I could get a lockout kit in within 5 days, and you're prepared for a hurricane with a portable generator. And again, we can get portable generators. So give us a call, 239-353-4389. Brian, I wanted to...
Back up. Is there even a permit required for that lockout
because
kit?
it's maintenance. It's under maintenance.
See, that's great.
Yeah, we're just putting in a lockout breaker for FP&L so
Nice.
they don't backfeed, right?
Right.
So, there's no permit needed for the lockout kit. It's a portable generator, so there's nothing to that. Like I said, that's a win-win.
Yeah, no
I think
brainer.
And
It's
with
2
at a
hours.
fraction of
Yeah.
the cost, if you have the standalone system and you don't need it for 10 years, really the comparison for money spent for what it's needed for, you could do the same thing with a larger portable generator and still have saved quite a bit of money and still have functionality, and that's key.
And a lot of times with those standalones, Anthony, depending on which kind, if it's propane or whatever, your electrical mains have to be a certain distance away from them, correct? I mean for like your house.
Well, you get
and stuff like
the server's
that.
coming in from FP&L, you mean?
Yeah, like your
because
meters
then
and all that.
You kind of, FP&L dictates where that generator does go. You don't want to drag it around.
Yeah, because we did that one a while back, and you guys
commercial
had to
does
actually
cost-
route lines all the way around.
Yeah, commercial really, another thing is commercial creates a problem with standalone generators. Like I said, the generators is the time to coming up, right, Brian?
Yeah.
We're coming up on hurricane season. I know we got a virus, but we also want to be careful of what the waters are doing out there.
Yeah. 2 hamsters in a wheel don't cut it anymore.
I've yet to see that one, but maybe if they go backwards.
Especially when the hamsters are screaming for fair wages.
We're switching to gerbils.
I'm getting me 2 rats. I'm going to get me rats this time. It's $15 an hour. $15 an hour for all of us. This is like a union. It's called a rat union. Well, again, like I said, the portable unit, is a way to go for some people out there. You don't want to spend $10,000, right, Gerald? That's a half of a price, I think, personally, on a generator. But even, $8,000 for a generator, to put in, you got to put a gas tank in and gas and some of the things that gone around. It was funny that you said 20 years, but I will tell you that a generator doesn't really last any longer than a car does.
No.
Because it's a motor, right, Brian?
Nothing's made to last anymore.
So a lot of times, if maintenance ain't done on the generators, on the standalones, you might as well forget it. A lot of times people would just don't pay attention to the battery dying, Most of the time we come out and batteries are dead for months on end. I mean, corroded, leaked all over because people just know it's starting up, right? You do have to get a service for a standalone generator. Unfortunately, over American Electrical, we do that. So if you have a generator that you need a maintenance program also, give Shelby a call at 239-353-4389. Again, that's 239-353-4389. Call Shelby or Juan over there and tell them Anthony from American Contracting sent you. And if you got any questions, answers or emails, give us an email at ac@theamericantrades.com. That's ac@theamericantrades.com. I had got an email, Brian, a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I sent you one. Oh, another one. Okay.
That's another one. Me and Brian just
Along
keep
with
sending
two
them back
texts.
and forth. We're just sending them back and forth to say we're getting an email. It's like kind of makes me feel good. Brian puts a different name each time. He goes, Lucinda was last time, right,
Yeah.
Brian? Lucinda. But
Eduardo.
each week it's a different person, different country. But me and him have our own game. But I got an email a couple weeks ago and said they loved the show, which is the important thing. They really loved Brian. I think it was the Cadburys. They really kind of loved Brian. But in the sense of it, they really had a compliment to say that, we love the show and we keep doing a good job. And that's important for some of us. I said earlier, we're small companies, not big companies. Small companies are the ones that run America, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
It brings America back. And so, give us a call over to American Contracting. That's 239-719-1789. That's 239-719-1789. Michelle, my assistant, will answer that phone, and any contracting needs from Brian's Services, from Brevet Plumbing or P&K or American Electrical, you give us a call. I have all the subs. I've been here for 35 years. We know everybody, don't we, Brian?
Yeah, you got ham and cheese, turkey,
Bologna,
combo,
Any subs you want?
peanut butter.
Italian BLT. You got all the subs.
The subs. I got all of them. I don't know if I got all the subs. Miami. What's that? Miami. What's that one? Miami subs.
Oh, Miami subs.
Miami subs. That's the one.
Firehouse.
Well, listen. Again, out there, if you have any questions for all of us on the show, email me at ac@theamericantrades.com. That's ac@theamericantrades.com. And I'm Anthony from American Contracting. And Gerald, I wanted to kind of touch base one more time on Scrubby Bubbles because I want the audience out there to listen up on this important situation that we have going on with coronavirus. But from the air standpoint and what we, kind of breathe in on a daily basis, right, Brian? So, Gerald, why don't you kind of give me this last touch of what you guys can do for the air and how you're going to do it and how they set it up and get you over there.
Yeah, so what they can do is give us a call. We come out. We'll set the machines up, take an evaluation of how many machines, what it's going to take to basically change out the air that's going to be in your house, in your business, anything like that. We can get an idea and get that air changed out. The machines do need to run, and nobody can be in the home while it's running. So the whatever kind of unit or business or whatever it is does have to be vacated while we are using it. So like I said, we come in and this will clean the air. It will remove odors, viruses, bacteria, mold. The air scrubbers remove any kind of dander, any kind of dust that may be floating through the air. So what you have at the end is, just 100% better air than what you started out with. A lot of these businesses that are closed now, with the threat of what may have been subjected to these buildings before you close the doors, you really have to wonder. We're finding out more and more about the virus. It's have a longer shelf life than they had anticipated. Don't hesitate. Go ahead and get the air scrub that's in your building, and anything like that, and that way we can have it clean for you. So when you come back in, you don't start the next pandemic, COVID-20.
Well, I want the audience to understand something. For Brian and myself and Gerald and some of us that are working, we're still working, right, Brian?
Yeah.
I can't stop working. And people calling me because they got emergencies. That's some of the things we're doing. I did send my employees home. We only keep people on emergency. But, it's important for the audience to understand that, people like myself, Brian and Gerald, we're out there. the schedules of this mold and remediation is starting to kind of pack up, right, Brian? I mean, you're starting to get calls and a lot of them. So I would say, in an audience standpoint, I mean, Gerald over at B&K is going to start to get busy, not only from the radio, but for a lot of people that they work for is wanting to get this done. So if you're out there listening and you're trying to figure out, should I do something, I mean, from this standpoint, I would say give them a call over at B&K and get that set up as soon as possible because, it's going to start to become a big ball of trying to get these houses cleaned up,
Yeah,
right?
we're doing a lot of it. We have, HOAs that have, the kitchens that they're doing the kitchens for the community. They'll deliver, and so we're running them in those kitchens right now. So the workers who are in the kitchens who have to show up for work, even though they can't have the residents come in, they still need to make sure that they're not going to be contaminating the kitchen, the employees, the food, or anything like that. So that's something we're doing there. Some of these businesses that we work with, they're still open, and they want to ensure that their employees have a good environment. And that's something we're doing for quite a bit of them now is once a week or so we come in and we'll run those machines. And what that's doing is that's going to kill any virus so that they'll make sure that their employees are going to be safe while they're still having to show up for work. We do the same thing at our office. Once a week, we're going to run that machine, and sometimes twice a week we're going to run that machine because we still do have service. So we have guys who are still out in the field who are having to service people, and that's one thing I want to make sure is that my employees are taken care of. So, most of the time it's going to be twice a week. I'm running these in my offices, in my vans, in my warehouses to clean this up. Same thing in my home because that I have, to make sure that I am well every day. I run these things in my home several times a week. And this is something that's benefiting me because it really is killing any kind of viruses and bacteria. It is giving me a better indoor air quality, and I can tell it when I run these machines.
Yeah. And you got to remember, we will notice the indoor air quality, but you got to remember your pets are also going to have better indoor air quality if you have dogs, etc. I mean, because they're just as affected by mold and.
I always thought that same thing is what happened. Does the dog get the virus? So you don't know. I mean, you don't know what this thing.
I'm not that smart, but I'm sure they're bothered by mold and parculets like that. But
Gerald, what's that phone number of B&K?
It's going to be 239-398-9834.
Say it again one more time, slow for the audience, so the audience hears that.
239-398-9834.
B&K.
Water extraction and mold services.
Don't fret.
Call Prevent.
That's right. What's that phone number, Brian?
239-596-5533.
Don't fret. Call Prevent. Call Gerald. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to be safe out there. This is an important time for everybody to be safe. God bless America and Semper Fi.
Hoorah!